We might talk a little bit later about how it is that people can get involved in the project, because you are looking at trying to involve, is it up to 300 or more? 300?
Yeah, something around 300 people in the ACT. We're looking to have them involved in a solar forecasting project. But I'll let you decide when we put the teaser out there to talk about that.
That's right. We're going to build it up so to the point where you can't help but get involved because you're so excited. And so we'll basically go to a song to start that, momentum building. It's another one from Nicholas. It's by Wilco again.
Again, yes, off the same album.
Did you want to describe?
Yeah, sure. It's the first track off the album. It's called Either Way. I think it's a good philosophy for life.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Here we go.
Maybe the sun will shine today. The clouds will blow away. Away.
And that was Wilco again with
Either Way.
Either Way, which is basically, subversively, in a kind of very straightforward way, saying get involved with solar because there's this exciting opportunity on the horizon in Canberra. And that is essentially the ANU, through Nicholas, is looking for households to participate in a kind of, it doesn't require a lot of your time. You just kind of have to sign up to be part of this exciting project where they basically look at your generation from your solar panel, and you wouldn't have to provide, I would assume there's not a lot of effort involved, like once you sign up.
Correct.
What happens?
Yeah, right. Okay, so I'll tell you the entire premise of the project and people will see the value. So one of the issues that we have with rooftop solar energy systems and producing a forecast for them is that, well, in the first place, we have to figure out how much electricity they're producing right now. And that might be a surprising thing for you to hear, but the electricity distributors in Australia don't actually know right now how much all the power, how much power is coming out of all the rooftop solar energy systems in a given area.
It is amazing. That's an amazing situation.
Right.
And is it the case, just as a point of interest, is that because of the meters, for instance? Like, if you had a better meter, would you?
Right. So there's certain, most smart meters are capable of monitoring what we would say interval data. So they can monitor and measure and record a measurement every 15 minutes and maybe report it back. But it takes a sophisticated network of daisy chaining, as we would call it, wireless networks to pass that data back from smart meters. And it's quite an expensive thing to do, and everybody in an area would all have to have smart meters for it to work. And so, although the utility could go and read it afterwards, they don't read it in real time. That'd be very rare if they did do that. And so, one of the things that we're interested in doing is coming up with a much more cost-effective solution, because these smart meters also cost a few $1,000s. So that can't really end up being our source of information on renewable energy, because we want it to be the least expensive possible. That's our goal. So we want the economics of renewable energy to be awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going for here. And so the basic idea behind this project is to create a small, and have this data logger already. We have a small data logger, which is just a fancy term for something that will hook up to your home solar inverter and then report back to us the amount of power it's producing over 3G, so over the mobile phone network. And so the hardware for this device, installing this device, is very low cost relatively. So we're talking, $100, $200. So we can afford to pay for these, give them to members of the community, and then put them on a representative sample of households in a given area. So our golden number is around 300. If we can get 300 houses from spread across the ACT, so all over Canberra, then we can use those 300 houses effectively as, solar radiation sensors, solar energy sensors. And part of my research has been coming up with a method for, if you have one solar system, you record its power output, use that power output to estimate how another nearby system would be performing, how much power output it would be generating. And so using that type of technology, we can then produce an estimate for those 12 to 14,000 solar systems we were talking about earlier, how much all of them collectively are producing, how much power instantaneously, and then over throughout the day, how much energy, total energy they're generating, how many kilowatt hours. And once we can do that in real time, then we can start learning with forecasting algorithms to forecast it into the future. So we're looking for people to get involved with that project. And we do have a little website. I'm not sure when you want me to say the website.
No, go to the website promo. It's time.
Yeah, sure. It's NICTA, NICTA, nicta.com.au/solar sign up. One word, solar sign up. And I'll put up a blog post about it on my blog, which is solarnic.info, one word there, NICK, and I'll explain the project. But the idea here is to find people that are nice and spread across all of Canberra. We can get them to sign up and say, hey, I'm interested, no cost to you. We come over, hook up a data logger, and then even we'll probably send you an email each day, if you would like, of the amount of power your solar system produced.
Wow, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
And so would you be particularly looking at people, so for instance, if you're listening right now and you're in a rural part of Canberra, in a farm, are you looking for, because of that geographic spread,
right,
for a bit of this, bit of that?
There's actually a disproportionate value in some cases to a site that, let's say, for example, there's a cloud deck coming in from western Canberra. And somebody to the west of Canberra has a single site out there, and all of a sudden its power drops off. We can then create a little flag in our forecasting algorithm that says, hey, if we have westerly winds in a site to the west, all of a sudden its power has dropped down in terms of the amount of power output the solar array is producing. That might be a flag for us to say, hey, we might be looking at an event where all the solar in Canberra suddenly decreases its power output. So that could be extremely helpful. So yes, even people in rural areas could go to that and sign up, and you might find us sending you an email or giving you a call.
And you'd be helping, you'd be helping the public good, because this information is very important to our future, essentially.
Absolutely. This is the type of thing where a distributor is going to come back and say, we can't have any more solar energy on the grid. It's creating problems. And with this type of technology, we can answer back, we have the solution to that problem. You can now, if you use this technology, integrate more solar energy into the grid. And it's going to go in one way or the other. The utilities are going to adapt and make that happen, or people are going to go off the grid and we'll give them the solar forecast so they'll know when to charge their batteries.
Oh, fantastic. And I think it seems like what you're doing is a test case that could potentially, as soon as you establish the processes and the technologies in this case, it could spread to the rest of Australia, and we'd have this awesome information set about everywhere.
This is exactly right. So people are recording solar data more and more all the time. There's a great website, pvoutput.org, where people are publicly reporting their solar power output data. There's all sorts of other ones just in the same kind of concept like that. And just this great wealth of data out there for us to pull on. And we could eventually extend this project to all the major cities in Australia. And with NICTA and ANU partnered together, that's a reality. That's something we could really do. And so with this trial project, we're just proving that it'll work so we can get more funding to go out there and make it a reality.
Fantastic. It's so exciting. I want to be involved. I'm not. But the one thing I was thinking of, just in case people were wondering, knowing the generation data for instance, if your next door neighbour is generating, how that helps you if you're trying to decide whether to put in a solar system is if you know exactly when electricity is being generated and consumed at your household level, you can determine, the percent that's going to the grid, for instance, and then work out what kind of feed-in tariff return you'll get on your investment. So you can work out a payback period, essentially, that's more accurate than kind of back-of-the-envelope figures at the moment.
Yes. So to be clear with the project we're doing, we wouldn't be collecting any data about people's consumption because there's privacy issues there, but their solar power output we'll be collecting. But there are other sources of information about consumption and things like that, and you potentially could ask your neighbor and create some relationships with them on that. One of the things that was very interesting about what we're doing that could help people in the way that you're talking about right now is that the thing that the person installing your solar or wants you to buy the solar system is telling you how much power the system will actually produce, how much energy it will actually produce, is going to be a little bit different than what it does in reality, because there's trees, there's bird poo, there's varying climate, there's different inverters have different performance. And with this type of data set, we might be able to tell you, hey, in a given city, you're more likely to produce X number of kilowatt hours, give you a really good estimate. The other thing we can do is compare your actual solar power output to, for example, its clear sky potential, and tell you if it's performing as well as it should be.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking, because sometimes people aren't quite sure, what it's supposed to be generating. And so, for instance, you might have had, exactly like you said, an ad hoc bird poo situation, and you wouldn't have been aware of that. This project could bring that kind of temporary problem to light, and that way, resolve.
That's exactly right. And this is the type of thing where we might give you one of these little data loggers, and the thing that's valuable to us, and is NICTA in particular, is the information. The ICT is the central part of NICTA, information and communication technology. And so the thing that's valuable to us is taking the information and turning it into a valuable product, aka a solar forecast, an energy estimate. And so, but we can give you the data logger, and the thing that's interesting to you and that's valuable to you is, how is my solar system performing versus how it should? And there's a lot of things that can make your solar energy system not perform as well as it should. Things like, maybe even this time of year, there's a lot of pollen out there. Hasn't rained in a while. There could be, as you mentioned earlier, an ad hoc bird flu situation. There could be wiring and shading issues. If your neighbor puts another story on their house, you might suddenly not produce as much solar kilowatt hours as you used to.
Plus, we might find out something, because more and more people are getting solar panels, but it's been more recently, like in the last 6 years or so, really gained momentum. There could be things like pollen, for instance, pollen buildup, which people didn't actually realise happened. We could be kind of ironing out these very minor issues through this project. So it's fantastic. What we're going to do now, though, is wrap up the show, essentially. So thank you very much, Nicholas, for coming in.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure to be here.
I'm going to go out with a song called Action, because this is what we need for people to sign up straight away. Do you want to repeat the website?
Yes, nicta.com.au/solar sign up, all one word, solar sign up. And NICTA is NICTA.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Nicholas.
Absolutely. Thank you.